Today, here in the shop, we're back to making new metal out of rusty metal. Well, not exactly, but we're making new metal to replace rusty metal. And the tools and the techniques and the skills that we use today will apply to any project with similar rust issues. Let's just get into it. I'm Mike, and this is My Car's Shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
It doesn't matter if we're working on a 70 Challenger or a 1972 Peugeot. The techniques are the same no matter what, and there's a lot we can learn as we work together to fix this rusty car that most people probably wouldn't have touched. So last episode we worked on making this wheel arch for the inner wheel well, and one of the things that I commented on was I wasn't sure if that had a lip coming out like this, and I looked online at some tubs, and I'll try to remember to insert a picture of one here, and indeed it is. So we've got more work to do to this, and I also want to start test fitting everything with the corner panel back on the car just to see how everything fits together. So I don't know how far we're going to get today, but we are definitely going to make some progress on getting this closer to installing, or maybe we'll get it installed, because I don't know. We just show up and do the work. Okay, so we got this piece fit in here, and that's nice. Of course, we know that fit because we made it to fit. Don't think I'm going to clamp that. It seems to stay in place pretty well. But I do want to take this other piece now. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, take this piece that we made and then get it fitted up in here and kind of see where it goes as well. And I'm quite sure it's too long. I can see my datum mark right there. So we may get some interference with this, but we're going to try. Yeah, we get interference on both ends. It's over here. You can see you can't. Up there, I'll show you in a second. It's a little bit too long, and of course it's too long here. I don't mind the length here, but I'm going to have to pull all of this back apart again now that I got it in there, and I want to cut off a couple of inches up on that end, up there. When I put this piece in, you can see it's overlapping. And I've got my line here kind of lined up there with the one there. It's off a little bit, so it's got to go further forward actually. So the easiest way to deal with that is to just cut some of this material off up here to make room. So we'll probably cut off a couple of inches of that just to give me some more room. And then we should be able to get all this fit in here and come up with our plan for connecting it to the wheel tub up above there. I just want to emphasize that when you're fabricating stuff, especially when you have really nothing to go on except just a general idea, you're going to be putting things together and taking them apart a lot. I know I've commented on this before in other videos, but I just wanted to reiterate it here again that I've already had this quarter panel on and off here 20 or 30 times for different parts of this project, and I would bet we're going to have it on and off there another 20 or 30 times before we finally put it on the car. So just expect that if you're going to do a good job and make things fit properly, it's testing, test fit, test fit, test fit, take it apart, test fit, take it apart, test fit, take it apart, test fit. I feel like I'm writing some kind of a song. All right, there we go. We got things in place. My datum mark is lined up. Things are kind of coming together over this direction. So we've got a big gap to fill, obviously, and this here is on the wrong side of this. They need to be fixed differently, but and it's too long. So that's probably the first thing we'll do is cut that off up there so that it's not overlapping the fender extension. That should be fairly simple. And then we're going to have to trim that thing down so that it slips into that lip in the quarter panel a little better. And then we can start figuring out exactly how we're going to make the pieces to get that to blend in up to the wheel tub itself. So this is fun. I like it. This is why I love Clecos, because I've had this quarter panel on and off here so many times already. Just took it off, put it back on again, got my pieces trimmed, so I'll show you what we did, then we'll get it back under the car and put those pieces in. So the first thing I did was take and trim this edge off. It had a big thing sticking up, and I trimmed that off so that's straight and flat there. And then, of course, per our discussion, I also trimmed this off. I got to do a little hammer and dolly on that, but I trimmed this off so that it should line up with that piece now pretty close. Those definitely fit together a lot better there now. So I think the next step is we've got to trim that wide piece right there so that it fits down into the quarter panel groove a little better. And then there's a little bending on this end right here that we've got to do also. But it's fitting pretty good overall now. So, yeah. And this is where I'm spending most of my time, right down here. And I've got to go take the quarter panel off again and now start fitting that piece, because that's what's next. Yay! We've got it marked out now here where we've got to cut this lip off all the way around. So we'll go ahead and do that. And that should help it nestle down in. And then we've also got to do a little bending down here. But this thing is getting close. So big steps forward. And you may not totally understand what this is about yet, but I'll take you over there and show you just so we're clear on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So if you look at this quarter panel, you can see it goes along here and then dips down and up. And that inner wheel well needs to kind of nestle into that so we get maximum overlap here on this quarter panel lip before we trim it off. It's actually a little bit too wide for factory. I won't be able to trim it off until I get the wheel opening moldings, which I gotta figure out where to scrape together the cash for those. But that's part of this whole process here is, you know, making sure that you have the parts that you can bolt on so that everything fits properly. There's nothing worse than assembling something and then getting wheel openings and going, oh man, they don't fit the car. You know, it's just all part of the process here. Okay, so it's fitting in there really nicely. Again, I got my datum mark lined up here. And this end here needs to bend a little bit because it's not nestling down in all the way. There may also be a little bit that has to happen up here. I'm not sure on that yet. It looks like maybe I gotta do a little bit that way. But now it's gonna be really where the rubber hits the road here. But I need to trim this. I'm gonna take and trim this up a little ways, maybe 2 or 3 inches, so that I can put that in the shrinker and just shrink that up a little bit so that that will nestle down in there better. So this end right here, just going to take up a couple inches of it and let that, try to pull that up a little bit so that it'll nestle down in, because this starts to curve this way as it comes down the quarter panel. So the challenge of the moment is knowing whether or not this opening here is straight. And I suspect, knowing my experience with quarter panels, they usually come with these openings kind of splayed down, and you kind of have to tap them up. I'm going to tend to believe that my part is probably right, but the only way I'm going to know that, see, you got to tweak it down here just a little bit. Something I was doing was taking a flashlight like this, or a light, and just kind of shining it along here. And I do see I got a couple little spots in here that are, I gotta work on just a little bit more. Everything is pretty much good. This end I gotta bend down a little more. And there's a spot where it's a little humpy in here, so got a little bit of work to do there to straighten that out real quick, but otherwise it's pretty close to being good to go. But we got to put the quarter panel back on the car and then check this lip and see how far down it is. Again, we're not trying to get everything 100%, but I got to get it close. I was just looking at the price of wheel opening moldings, and with Christmas coming, that's probably not going to be a thing right now. So we're not going to be able to go too far with putting this quarter panel on until I have those to final fit everything. But we can get it rough together and close. That won't be a problem at all. So I put it back onto the car and discovered exactly where it needs to be. So it needs to do a little tweaking. We got to bend it here, which up in here, so that this pulls this way a little bit, and the same thing back here. So I kind of got a datum mark here where I just went along and traced it. Just to give me an idea, and of course our other lines up there, it's off just a little bit, but this edge on this right here is actually fairly straight on this new quarter panel, probably only down about 1/8 of an inch. So we need to tweak this inner piece just a little bit to get it to fit better so that this angle will line up in there. I think that's a lot better now. I think we can work with that. Once I got it in the car, if I need to tweak this edge a little bit, I can, but it's not nearly as far out now as it was. So it's got a little bit of a tweak to it, but for what it is, I think we're going to be okay there. So the next step now is to put all this back on the car and then figure out how to get that attached to this here. Okay, so it's fitting nicely now. I don't know if my lines are lined up or not, I can't tell. Yep, our line is lined up there. So now we have to figure out how to attach this to that. So, I think what I'm going to do is just take a couple pieces of scrap and tack weld them here and here, like here and here, and then here and here, and then take the quarter panel back off once that's kind of tacked in place, so that I can figure out what I need to do to weld a solid piece across there the way it should be done. So that's what I'm gonna do. So for probably the 8th time today, we will take the quarter panel off, but we should have the rough sketch of a wheel opening, or the wheelhouse tacked in place now. So there it is. It's not perfect, but we got to remember that this moves around now, and this should line up with that, and that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm going to go back and put a couple more welds on here just to get it close. But the quarter panel isn't cut yet to be sinking in all the way, and we've got to deal with this. But I wanted to get this piece kind of in place, and I think that's pretty good. I think it needs to be in about 1/4 of an inch, like so. But that's part of this, is just getting everything kind of sort of there. And once we've got our pieces made that we will use to connect all of this, I'll probably blow those other straps out of the inside, but maybe I won't. I don't know. Don't really care what it looks like underneath too bad, because it is stitches, and we expect to see stitching all over, don't we? So now we need to just start like getting things to fit tighter. So I'm going to go ahead and buzz this corner off of this quarter panel here, and probably down here. Not sure about that one yet, but I'm going to go ahead and buzz this quarter off here just so that this will snuggle in tighter and we can start to get things fitting. From what I'm seeing, the quarter panel is about 1/4 of an inch out too far, and the piece that I just put in, I tried to make go in further, and I did. I'm not sure I did go in far enough, but we really need to start getting this to nestle in place. So I want to trim this off here so I can see where, make sure that we're up and down in a good spot. We're going to do the same thing up front, and it's time to start getting this quarter panel closer to fitting in to being on the car. Everything is starting to fit together really well. I cut the quarter panel off to get that 1/4 inch moved in where it should be. I bent this piece that we made with those 3 straps in about 1/4 of an inch, so if you can see, it lines up well over there now. Sorry, we got a shadow here. And it's coming back here, and it's lining up good with the quarter panel extension. And the quarter panel extension is starting to fit up against the rear bumper brace support thingy bob, whatchamacallit thing, whatever that goes across the back of the car. So things are starting to pull together now pretty well. Yeah, I'm not disappointed with that. Let me get you where you can see that front better without the shadows. So you can see that I've cut the back of the quarter panel off, and we line up really nicely right here with our line the way it's supposed to. But I have not gone up here yet, and I have not cut this off here. I gotta just make a decision here what I'm gonna do next, so I'll be right back after a short word from our sponsors. So now I've got this, let me show you. The downward piece is clecoed right there so that it's in place. And then the upper piece kind of goes there. So we can actually attach these together now, or soon. Probably not quite yet, but we're going to be able to attach those together real soon. So we're close on that. It was all lined up. I'm not sure what just happened, but something. But we'll fix that. No big deal. And then I just put a little duct tape around it to kind of hold it together here. So we're definitely moving forward. I don't want to start this yet. I want to got to do the trimming up here and get this a little bit more in permanence before we go and take it the rest of the way down. So we're just kind of building a skeleton right now, but I want to go back here and look at why this pan isn't lining up with that underneath pan, because it was just a minute ago until I took it out to show you. So I'll be right back. Attached back here now where I mentioned. I put a screw through here to kind of pull this because it was a bit bowed. Everything is good. This lines up nicely up here now. And of course we're duct taped to our inner structure that we've been building. So the next step, we need to build the bottom of this and tie this trunk floor extension into it right there. So that's going to be the next thing, because this has to kind of pull in and like that. So we've got to put a little bit of a front on this. and then build a bottom for those two to come together where we can pinch weld that together there. This is just a bit high here, but that's to be expected because things are not attached to anything. So it's looking good. I'm really happy with this. It's all starting to come together. Stitching together our Stitches Challenger. That's what it's all about. It's turning out good. I'm really pleased with the way this is going. So next episode that we work on this will probably be trying to get this trunk extension piece close and fitted better so that we can start working our way this way. And then of course, as I mentioned, we need to really work up here. Got a little collision damage to fix, but we need to work up there to get the front of that quarter panel close to roughed in. Like I said, I checked this center line here on this body line and it's right on the money, so we're good back here. Just need to confirm that same thing up here, but I think we're close because of where it lines up with the door. So I think we're going to be okay on all of that. And the nice thing that I've learned also, even in block sanding a car out with body lines, maybe not quite as radical as these ones here, but with some stamping lines in quarter panels and so forth, you can actually move those lines around a little bit as you're blocking to get them a little better. Not a lot, but it depends on which way you sand. So maybe we'll demonstrate that to you sometime as well. That's going to do it for today. I'm out of time, and as always, this is about just spending the day in the shop with me on what I'm working on. We just drop it when we're out of time, and that's where we end. So that's going to do it for today. Don't go away, just a second. I got exciting things to say. First, if you didn't see the special bonus episode that we did on the Oakland on Thanksgiving Day, go back and check that out. I know a lot of y'all have been waiting for that one. That's all I'm going to say. Also, I'm switching things up a little bit. Going to try this for a while and see if we can do Stitches Duster episodes on Fridays and Sundays and move the Oakland to Tuesdays for a while, and we'll just skip doing some of the tech talk stuff for a while if I can schedule-wise. That's my plan. So you're going to see more hands-on stuff here for a while than I've been able to do. The holiday is coming. That could get messed up, but that's my intent at this point. I don't have any intention of doing any traveling until next year. Hopefully, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, we should be able to get that done. We got a lot of work to do to get stuff cleaned up inside here. Some structural stuff that we need to take care of that needs some reinforcing, stuff like that. But this car is going to be getting really stiff on this side soon. Really, really thrilled. If you haven't subbed to the channel, please do that right now. We're really on a roll, and I want to continue growing the channel as fast as we can to get you the other stuff that comes once we get beyond 1,000 subscribers. Also, we're on the Faceplace and on your Instant Grandma. /mycarshop. Yeah, I'm kind of mentally pretty exhausted right now, so I need to quit anyway, but on to the domestic duties of the day. And before I forget,